And can I have everyone rise to the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, folks. Welcome to the January 8th planning board meeting. I've been working on the chair. We're going to have several public hearings tonight concerning some of the warrants that the zoning board has presented and some of the planning. We'll take our time to go through those. But first, we're going to handle some business that we had from our last meeting, which is just a preliminary plat. So, we're going to have you come up, pull your chair up. We'll go through this and we'll have a few questions, and then we can move on to the public hearings. Board all okay with that? The agenda. Larry, you there?
He's tried to call me. I just told him to connect via Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yes, we can hear you.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to do a quick roll call. We have Mary McKeon here tonight. We have Melissa Turner and Jim Burkhammer. She is our select board liaison. We have Larry Walls from the great state of Texas, who is joining us by Zoom. Good evening, Larry.
Good evening.
All right, Larry, we're going to go and do a preliminary plat of a major subdivision on Cash Street, and then we're going to jump into the public hearings.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So it's a 7-lot subdivision. It's on 34 and a half acres on Cash Street. 34. This is north of the check corner. And this is West my land.
So we haven't done a site walk. We might do a site walk.
Okay.
But my first question on this is this the paved section of Cash Street?
No, that's good.
It is, okay. And what's the slope of these lots? Are they flat?
So it goes down from the road, and then it pitches down, and it goes up a little bit in the back. It probably pitches off the road.
So does it pitch down to the road?
No, it pitches away from the road.
Away from the road?
Yeah, there'll be no water coming on to
That
Cash.
was my question.
Zero. lots have over 200 feet of road frontage. The smallest lot, I think, is 4 acres. This one is 6. We did test holes on the lots that are under 5, as the state requires. Keep those.
So the street corner is here, this is not. Street corner.
Correct, yeah, where that brick house was, where it is. It's across the road from the guy who has a dog, so Mike. Sandy.
I think it's like that.
If you walk along the road, you'll see the ribbons and the pins and set along the road.
Oh, excellent, okay. We do a sidewalk on the ones.
Yeah.
We should do it. No. Yes.
Just a little private.
Well, I think what we could do in this case is, unless Aaron wants to go, we might do that. So if we do that Friday.
Yeah, I can go back and walk on, see what we thought for, how wide the road is here, because we might ask for some issue between the comments.
So what is that?
I don't know what the right of way is there, but the road's pretty wide.
Good. Why would that?
I'm not sure what the right of way is, we just want to see it, I want to look at some sight lines.
Yeah, it's all straight, so there'll be no dangerous, like the right of way coming out, as far as either way. It's pretty straight, there's no corners that you can see.
So what's your long-term plan to sell each one of these off, or is the long-term plan
I
to
just-
develop the first 3?
No, I have no plans to sell
You just want
them.
to subdivide
I
out
want to just have it.
for the value?
Yeah, it kind of,
Makes sense.
it's kind of a little finger off from the bulk of my property,
Yep.
builds around there. And I'll just subdivide it down, it's easier now and, so.
There's no change.
I would not put one lot for sale. We all know. I really intend to put it for sale. The whole thing is for sale, all the 366 acres that I have.
You just did the ones that were.
That's one of the reasons. And I have that paperwork, approval from the state.
And that's all we.
Yeah, it's right in
You got the all over here.
I believe so. What was that?
I'm gonna make a note that we're gonna do 4 and just do it. So just to check site lines and reps and.
And all pictures away, because that's one of the first questions you guys asked me. Was that, is it gonna come towards the road? And cause any- Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely, everything.
Okay. All right, I'm going to approve that.
Do you want these other 2 maps, because it says you guys want them?
Yes.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Aaron, you okay, clean my beer?
Yeah, any questions, Aaron? Any questions? Comments? I have a motion.
Larry?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Hey Larry, do you recall Donnie Goodwin's 7-lot subdivision on Cash Street? Did you have any questions on that? We're doing a preliminary plat. We don't see any issues. Kim and I are gonna do a site walk on Friday.
I have no question.
Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we accept the preliminary site plan for Goodwin Land Management on Cash Street.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we want to keep this up?
We want to keep all of that.
We want to keep this paperwork, we want to keep these plans. My lots.
Yeah.
And,
I would wait until after we do the site.
Okay,
Sidewalk.
all right.
We'll contact you and your contact
Yeah,
information is
yeah,
there. We'll let you know if we see anything, but then we'll just figure on the next meeting,
the
February, Thursday.
Thursday, February 6th. So we'll let you call. Everything's okay. We've got a question.
Any questions, for Tony?
What time was it? All day.
I'm good in the afternoon, afternoon.
All right.
You come in.
I'll come get it.
We'll meet you there too.
Which are you going to be
Closest thing.
Father shop plan.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Listen good. You put this in form. Okay. All right, we have two additions to our planning board rules and regulations, a change to our accessory dwelling unit procedures and policy, and a new ordinance, which is the cell tower ordinance under plan. So we can talk to those, and then I'll open the public hearing to listen to all of that stuff. Let's see. So we'll start with cell towers, because that should be fairly simple. Shall the town adopt the following ordinance under RSA 675:3 as it relates to the installation and operation of communication towers on public and private land? Right now, we had a cell tower go in, and there were some, because we didn't have any rules, there were some issues and concerns that we had as a board for the fall zones of that cell tower. And fall zone regulations were absent in our ordinances. So Kim created this cell tower ordinance in order to tighten up, not to exclude, but to tighten up our regulations when it comes to cell towers. And the select board, if we can, once this passes, my next recommendation to the select board would be to have a permitting fee for cell towers that's like $1,000. Because the amount of money that's made off of the cell tower is astronomically big. So when you're in a position to have a cell tower on your property, you can get, depending upon the need and depending upon the location and the amount of service area that that tower can provide, I've seen cell tower leases as low as $20,000 a year and as high as $150,000 for 90 years, 99 years. So people are very interested in that on large tracts of land. We also wanted to take into consideration the aesthetic value of Croydon. We don't want a bunch of cell towers just popping out and sticking up in our mountains. And so there's camouflaging in this and everything else. So Kim, if you'd like to go, just give us the highlights, that would be wonderful.
So basically, it's making sure that we don't have, as Jim said, cell towers all over through the mountains and all over through the hills, and allowing for the location of cell towers, because we all want to have our cell phones, but making sure that they're necessary. Cell towers work where they need to have a co-location, or they work kind of like in a cell, like you have to have them so they have an overlap. But you might not need them in some of the locations that people want to put them on. Sometimes the towers work well together, and they don't wanna put an antenna up on their tower, because they're not gonna get the right that they want from that antenna. Mobile might not pay the fee that the tower wants, where AT&T will pay that fee. So somebody will come and put another tower up just for a single antenna. Might not be necessary, but now you've got this tower that you really don't need. So the idea of having the cell tower is, the ordinance is, first off, if you can, co-locate, put your antenna up on the existing tower. If you can't, then show us why you can't, and why you need to make a new tower. And perhaps down here in the village district, instead of putting it on a tower, hide it in a steeple. You can camouflage these in so many ways where you don't even know that they're there. And the 5G technology is a small antenna like this that only needs 20 or 30 feet when you get another one and another one and another one. So the technology is way beyond that big tower. The other thing that this says is that we have to have space on those towers for our first responders. It took a while to get any kind of emergency equipment out on that tower. So this is saying that you have to do that, you have to provide this. And then the fall zone, so that if anything were to happen to the tower, it would fall in a space that is going to encapsulate it and keep it safe. And then I don't know about any of you, but I have 4 boys. And they used to run around out in the forest and the woods. And if they came upon a tower and it wasn't covered by a fence and didn't have signs, and maybe even then, they'd be climbing that tower. So it also has, you have to put up a fence, and you have to landscape that fence, and you have to make signs and make sure that people understand that you're not supposed to go climbing up the top of that tower. That's just some of the safety regulations. Okay.
Any questions, concerns from the board? All right. This one here, do you have any questions?
Okay, I did have a few questions.
Mhm.
Sorry, you had. So the title of this is personal wireless service facilities. Is there a reason why it's limited to just personal and wireless? I mean, I can imagine there's towers that might go up for other reasons.
That's what they call them, personal, because it's a personal cell phone. I didn't make the wording, PWSF, you can call them cell towers if you.
I know there's like just regular radio towers. They would have the same issues with calls.
So usually a small radio tower for personal use, like a ham radio, is a small tower, and that's not covered by this. This is more the RSA is RSA 12, page 12 through it's 1 through.
But we would never get like I'm talking like a really tall, like radio towers. Maybe light at the top.
Like the one we have out there?
But there are other ones that are for other things besides personal cell phones. So that's why I'm just wondering why is it limited to.
That's what they're called.
Yeah,
I didn't
this
make
is-
that
This is
up.
specific for cellular communication towers, not necessarily military radio. Military radio or other radio towers like this, if you go on Route 3 in Merrimack, there's 2 big tall ones that are held by cables right there. Yeah, I think that's what you're talking.
Yeah.
What's the rule if the state comes in and says, we want a state police radio tower, that's 250 feet
Probably
tall?
covered somewhere else.
It's gonna be covered someplace
Yeah.
else, because it's, none of that is in this or in this RSA.
No, it's a federal telecommunications act.
Yeah.
I mean, we're under a shot clock. By per RSA, we only have a certain amount of time where we have to say, yes, you can locate it. We don't have a whole lot of room to make an ordinance about them. We have to go by the state RSAs.
Any other questions?
Yes, so where it says like on the location, where they have to be co-located on existing towers, it doesn't really mention any sort of radius or distance, or so if they want to put a tower in somewhere in Croydon, like, we've already got one somewhere. Is there like some sort of radius that says it has to be co-located somewhere if they're within a certain radius, or it just seems kind of loosely defined?
Co-located means the antenna goes on the tower. Co-location just means,
If there's an existing, yeah, but like how nearby does that existing tower need to be?
so co-location means that you put an antenna on a tower. It doesn't mean you put a new tower in. It just, so if you have a tower that has an antenna on it, which we already have, you put a new antenna on that tower. You don't put a new tower in.
Right, but what if they're asking to put a new tower in?
That's a whole new tower down the road.
But doesn't this say like you can't put in a new tower if there's one you can co-locate?
It says that you have to co-locate first. If you
Yeah, but it
can't
doesn't
lo-
say like how far away does that co-locate?
So I don't think it's about distance, I think it's about.
Yes, no, it does. It says if the applicant is proposing a new personal wireless service facility, you have to demonstrate that there is no existing structure within 2 miles.
Oh, that must be.
It's
Later.
page 3.
Okay.
Yeah, within 2 miles that you can't co-locate on.
That's E, section E.
Yeah, section. I'm sorry, I didn't
Oh, yeah.
understand. So if you want to build a new tower, you have to show that within 2 miles, you can't co-locate on something or build something that would be more stealthy.
Okay.
But you could build it for 10 on that.
And then I guess my last question was, does the tower that just went in actually meet all of these?
No.
No requirements?
No.
That's why.
Which ones did it not meet?
Doesn't mean it
Any
falls
of
on.
them.
So there was a place they could have co-located? And it was,
I don't know, I don't know about co-location, I don't know if they could have put anything in Newport, or of course they could have put anything in Grafton, or if they could have put anything in Centerville or Springfield, because we got nothing.
but if it fell now, it probably could hit somebody else's property.
Very well.
Is there a fence around it?
I don't know.
Hmm.
We have no information. Well, I don't.
Okay, those are all my questions.
I'm gonna open up to the motion to open the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Does anybody want to speak to the cell tower ordinance? Name and address for the record.
My name is Jean Mitchell. I don't really care about cell phones, because I don't have a cell phone, but, how many towers can you have in the town now? As many as we want without this ordinance? Anybody can go.
Anyway,
So you're gonna try to block it to a certain amount?
No, I'm not trying to block them at all, and according to the state RSA's, we cannot block them. What we're trying to do is control the height, make sure that before they start just building towers anywhere, that they co-locate an antenna on an existing tower. That tower is huge, it's large, and it really covers most of Croydon. So you can put an antenna for T-Mobile or AT&T, or if you could put it on that tower, and basically cover Croydon.
A lot of problems, what happens is that a cell company would want to have their own tower, it's cheaper. So if AT&T wanted to be on a Verizon tower, Verizon's going to lose that cost. And so, but when you have this type of ordinance, it's going to, if it's a tower within 2 miles, you have to go on the tower. You have to spend it.
or they got to lose less.
That they need.
If I have the old tower, they can pick and choose.
Within reason. They have to charge a price. They can't say you can't come on, because it's considered public domain. So, but they can say you can come on and it's $50,000. And then that would be a legal battle between those parties.
Yeah, that's my concern, and that's the one that say, well, they won't let me go on that, so I have to do it.
And if they can prove that, the ordinance says, if you can prove it, show us that you cannot do that, then we'll look at building a new tower, but we'll make it a smaller one, or more camouflage, or something that's more aesthetically pleasing.
So cost would be an acceptable reason.
No.
I don't,
Wouldn't be acceptable.
No, it wouldn't be an acceptable reason for me either. They make a lot of money, those cell towers. So they could negotiate some type of event.
Any other questions from the public concerning the cell
First cut.
towers? Name and address for the record.
Huh?
Name and address for the record.
And Rita,
And you.
Cash.
What's that?
I just wanted to know that it goes across from Barking Dog Farm. How far up does it come?
The existing ones up there?
From cell tower, this is the
No.
guy who subdivided.
The subdivision.
I can't talk about that right now, or I have to wait till.
That, so that will be no public hearing for that until the date, until the final. What happens with that, you'll go back now, and then you have to follow procedure, which is you're gonna get a registered letter in there saying that there's a plan for to discuss this subdivision, and then come in that meeting on the sixth or third of February, you can see the public hearing. Yeah. Okay, any other questions on cell towers, Russ?
This is not a question.
Russ Evans.
I thought I heard about ham radio towers. Federal statutes prohibit towers from putting.
Restrictions on hearing.
Yeah, this is,
They're
yes.
not, but they're not 200 feet tall.
No,
Yeah, this is not for ham radio towers. Yes, thank you for clarification.
Yes, Alpha Barker. Is that tower gonna be like grandfathered in, or do they have to go there and fix?
No.
No, there's nothing.
There's nothing we can do.
When you don't have rules that people do it, and then when they make a rule, there are a lot of people. Okay. And they actually have the liability. So there's no fence around it, if they find out they get hurt, that's gonna be on them. Because they didn't provide a safe and adequate area. Right, seeing no other questions, comments, so we'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on the cell towers.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And now, put this vote to, put this to a board vote to move to the warrant. Entertain a motion for that. Or move to the select board for approval, I think, it's the process.
I think we have to wrap that up, goes to the town attorney.
Town attorney, so Melissa, we're gonna send this one off to the town attorney to verify that the wording is correct, and then we'll come back to our second public hearing next week. We'll have, if there's any changes the attorney makes, we'll then talk about those changes. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to accept and send to the attorney.
I make a motion, we accept the warrant article for cell towers and send it to the attorney for verification.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Send that one. Okay, next one. Karen Box.
EDU.
Shall the town, under RSA 675:3, amend the current accessory dwelling unit ordinance to include detached structures as proposed by the Croydon Planning Board as follows. Add a new definition for the term accessory dwelling unit and allow ADUs as a use permitted throughout all zoning districts if they comply with specific performance criteria as required in RSA 674:71-73, as amended in the town of Croydon zoning ordinance. Explanation: for the purpose of providing expanded housing opportunities and flexibility in household arrangements, accessory dwelling units shall be permitted within or attached to an existing single-family home, primary dwelling, or as a separate housing unit on the single-family homes law. Definition: accessory dwelling unit as defined in RSA 674:71 as amended means a residential living unit that is within or attached to a single-family dwelling and that provides independent living facilities for one or more persons, including provisions for sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation, on the same parcel of land as the principal dwelling unit it accompanies. A detached accessory dwelling unit is also permitted, RSA 674:73, subject to limitations which are listed in this ordinance. So to the board, any changes in what we have presented to you guys?
Yes.
Okay, what do we have?
Section C, in our last meeting, we determined that rather than having a calculation it would be minimum of 750 square feet and maximum of 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
It's the size of the ADU.
So so we're gonna take pretty much all of that out and just add in that a detached structure must not exceed 1,000, must be a minimum of 750 and a maximum of 1,000. And then the rest of the language is same. Any other changes?
Yes. Did you have any others? Sorry.
Good one.
Okay, that was one of mine as well. Yep. Okay, my main one was, we had talked about, requiring the, detached ADU must remain on the same line as the primary dwelling. And I didn't see that in.
It's in the recorded, so look at 4. I think 4 is the one. Paragraph 4.
Okay, owner does hereby acknowledge and covenant that owner must. No. That's it.
I'll find it.
Was that not attached to this?
No,
That's the permit, right?
this is the restricted covenants. Number 3, if the ADU is detached, the 2 structures must remain on the same lot under the same ownership in perpetuity. That's to be recorded at the registry of deeds before
Should that not be?
it can be in the actual.
And, constructed something on the same lot. Under the same ownership. So under the same ownership, which means, wouldn't they, if they were on the same lot, they have to be on the same lot?
That was your language to determine that it would never be subdivided. If they were detached, because it's owner occupied, which is our zoning ordinance since the 1980s, it's always been multi-family, and anything else is owner occupied. So we can add that sentence to the
Okay,
ordinance
yeah.
without any problem.
Okay, so let's HIJ, let's make that K.
And there was some good language in part B where, it said the owner shall record and sell the town restrictions and ADU owner occupancy restrictions, so we could probably just use that same language and say something like, that they shall record on the deeds a statement that the primary dwelling and the ADU must remain in the same line.
That's the owner, that's the.
That's the registry.
That's the registry of deeds form to record.
Which is what it says. I just found, so we had a couple of things, on this. We've got in section B at the bottom, accessory dwelling unit shall share utilities in common with principal dwelling unit. Section B. So we had talked about allowing a separate septic system if necessary, which might require septic power.
We said that they
They
could
could
use the
go,
existing one.
Or the other one, but this says accessory dwelling unit shall share utilities.
Oh, it should say name.
May.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll add that.
And that goes for electric too, as well.
Correct. So all utilities. And then, just some,
we don't want the interior door.
no. Where's
We
that?
decided that still in B. If it's located within or by an addition to the existing principal dwelling, the interior door, we determined that we don't require an interior door. So
I
you
don't
can-
remember, that we made a decision on that, but what's the reason? Because wouldn't, it would make sense to me if it would be some sort of partition that separates the 2 units.
So if you put an accessory dwelling unit, it's kind of like an addition to the house. So you can think of it as, okay, I'm gonna have an in-law apartment. And if you're going to be doing it for an elderly parent, you might want that door there so you can get in and out. But it shouldn't be a requirement. it could be that you're going to be doing this for, additional rent or a teenager that's coming home, and you might want that wall there.
Oh, so you're saying to not have a door?
Right, or it's your choice. I don't think that it should be something that we say you have to have, your choice.
I mean, with my mother-in-law, I'm on board. Just saying.
Okay,
There's a lot. Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be locked, just a door.
But yeah, the door could be locked, but again, it should be just,
Where's that?
that's in B.
We want to make a note of that. Anything else?
I just had a question mark again on the parking plan thing, because I remember we talked about it briefly, and it seems a little overkill when we were talking about it before, and I saw that it was all still in there, and I wasn't sure where exactly we were from, parking plans and X number.
Yeah,
of
so
parking
basically,
spots.
the reason, if you recall, the meeting when we discussed this, Kim actually brought up a really good point, was the fact that, there's a couple of properties right here in the village district, that if we don't have that in there, they don't have a parking unit. They're right up, I guess, with 10. So basically, every lot that's approved is supposed to be able to hold at least a minimum of 3 cars. And I think all our lots in town can hold 20 cars, so. I don't particularly feel that that's a bad thing to have in there. I don't think it's gonna restrict anybody from doing it, and even if it did, they could ask for a waiver from it, so.
Yeah, you're not allowed to park on the street during the winter. You're not supposed to obstruct the street. So you can't have somebody parking on the road. By zoning ordinance, you have to have 3 parking spaces. So if you add an additional, you have to be able to have parking.
Would it be 3 more spaces for one ADU?
No, that's what I was saying just one.
So we're gonna add, K is gonna be the first thing we're talking
I think he said we could put it into B because the property owner.
Oh, no, I was just saying that there's good language.
Yeah, K. I'll put K.
Insert Karen's in. All right, is that it for the board?
This one's far less important than this one. A line here about, section F, they have to have interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide problems.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at.
Obviously, we want that, but I get these kinds of things get me just.
It's within the principal.
Yeah, we need to say that though.
It does. An ADU located within the
Oh,
principal building.
Well, my question though is that I would think any construction would require that, so it feels like a redundant. And
No.
No,
Because
so,
I'll give you an example. Somebody has an unfinished basement. You're gonna put an ADU in the basement. They finish the basement, they don't put any smoke down.
But it's a construction project, it wouldn't be a
No.
residential construction project required.
should.
Where's your building inspector employed?
So, and the reason why.
Supposedly they follow the code.
Understood. But as an example, in Newport doesn't require wire source. They only require smoke
Batteries,
alarms.
yeah.
So folks would be required to put them in for an ADU, but not for their primary residence, is that what this would mean?
This would mean that if they want to put an ADU in their primary residence and the primary residence doesn't have interconnected smokes, that they have to install interconnected smokes. So if grandma's downstairs falls asleep, stoves on. Right, because and some of these houses, some of these houses are tiny, right? Some of these houses are big too, where one person could be down here and the other person's up here and they don't know smoke, fire's going.
If you add a cooking facility onto a house, you need to have it interconnected. So if you have a fire in that kitchen way over here, and people are sleeping over here, they get that smoke alarm.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't also somewhere else, because oftentimes what happens is you end up with things that gets changed in one document but not the other, that they conflict with each other.
We don't have building codes developed. We use the state codes, which have the state code. The fear is that if we allow this to go forward, so this is as much as a CYA as it is a necessary C.
That's why it's in there. I mean,
mean, that's in all the ones I've looked at in any town that have connected. All right, anything else, Aaron? You good? Can you good? Okay. Make a motion to open up the public hearing, for ADUs.
I make a motion, we open up the public hearing for the accessory dwelling units.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing's open. Does anybody have questions on accessory dwelling units? Yes.
Why 700 square feet for the minimum?
That's the state RSA.
Right.
So it has to be the.
That is the minimum.
The state gives us a minimum, but they specify a maximum. But the concern here is that, we want more changes. Smaller.
Oh, I was for less than 7, and that's for a minimum. For a minimum, you know.
Sheds do not count.
No, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean, if you just wanted to put like a, you know, jelly kitchen.
The intention is it's meant to be for a law or,
I was just curious about
and I would be curious if it comes in
the maximum.
1,000 square feet. We went back and forth on the numbers.
Susan Edwards, we have a piece of property that's 20 acres and by covenant our property may not be subdivided. But putting an accessory dwelling unit somewhere else on the property, it means it's being subdivided at all, it just isn't been allowed.
Language, so the definition of subdivision is the ability to deed separate lot within a lot.
And
You can't. So the lot would have to be sold with both houses.
And we specifically added a second year section. Properties moving to separate lots.
You can't, it's on the form,
Yeah.
it's on the
Well, you
deed
can't,
form.
it's on the outside.
It's on the deed form.
what was our last name?
If that was the case, you'd have to tear it down.
Correct. If you have a detached ADU and you wanted to subdivide the lot out, you'd have to tear the ADU. You couldn't subdivide it.
And just as a side note, we had a house in Maryland, it was 1,100 square feet, it didn't have first floor, basement floor, lots of room. So 1,000 square feet is,
What?
unless you want to pay 16.
No, we were trying to shoot for a size that would be appropriate for a one bedroom. 1,000 could probably do 2. So that's.
With that dwelling unit, does it stick by how many floors, 1 floor, 2 floor? And you just stick it in 1 floor?
As a detached.
As a detached, if you're putting like an
You
in-law apartment?
can have as many floors as you want, as long as you don't exceed 1,000 square feet.
Yeah, I'm just saying, 'cause I just didn't wanna make sure that somebody.
20 by 20.
I just wanna make sure somebody didn't put like a 700 square foot dwelling and then finish the basement, and nobody knows, and now you've got 1,400 square feet.
Fair.
So I just didn't know if you were limiting it too big, one, you got this.
The entire box is 1,000 square feet max. So that's including.
You know, that would happen, you know, someone come in, they put a cell hole for the furnace and all that stuff, and then they all that above, they finish it now. They got a whole other.
And the other scenario where that actually worked was if they put in like, some.
So how are you gonna go with no building inspector, how are you gonna know that, hey, these guys finished this thing off, nobody's gonna know?
I'm pretty sure that everybody knows everything. in this thing.
It's valid,
But it's a valid question.
and eventually we're going to have to find, a way to make sure that we can enforce the ordinance, but again, before they can get a permit to build or construct these, they have to have a recorded deed that states what they can and can't do. So this helps us if we have to go to court. They know what they're allowed to do, and they signed it and recorded it as a register.
I mean, honestly, the whole thing in the town, usually, so everybody's gonna try to follow the rules as best possible and not really do it. Could it happen? Of course. and, not kidding, people would find out. And then, the select board would have to take action. But the reality is that, our tax rate is high, so the problem is that we can enact rules, and we try to be very fair and very more safety oriented rules and more fair rules than we are more policing rules. To the sense that we don't really want to raise taxes and hire zoning, hire code enforcement, things like that. There's a lot of things that are happening in this town. It's not being taken in these products. And so we're gonna have to, over the next year or two, find out how to solve this problem without becoming, bigger than our purchases.
I gotta think sort of further down the road, as a building inspector. There's so much building going on, there's some of the people that are throwing in here, there's no way to enforce it.
And the harder piece to enforce is after the building's complete.
Yeah.
If the owner occupancy requirements tough to enforce too, so it's to say that I'm just gonna have the buildings in the town. So it's very tough to enforce, it's not.
And I'm sorry, I missed your name.
Tyler,
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
George Lake user. I haven't looked at that, I haven't been on that. Just wondering, if subdivision has covenants somewhere there, that helps. How does that work with Wayne?
So if the subdivision didn't allow an accessory dwelling unit on the deed,
On the rules for the covenants
for the subdivision, and the rules for the subdivision will apply.
Okay.
Rules for the subdivision apply.
So Henry Touchette. So I just have a question about this, because one hand you talk about not being large enough because of concerns of bedrooms, whatever. What is the point of the program?
Great
I have some concerns. So my concern is, I get older, I decide that we're going to do a small unit. What are we going to do with our house? We're going to rent it out to somebody with a family. This concerns me on the tax impact of the town. Would we be smarter not to do this and allow more subdivision? So that people are paying the full tax value on a real house on real property? And that's why it goes through my mind, what is the advantage of this and what is the disadvantage? So those are great concerns.
Yeah, so the advantage of it is that the state of New Hampshire, by the end of the decade, has 60,000 housing units short. And the state legislature, and Governor Smeaton and now Governor Hale, are fixated on allowing as much ADU as possible. These LSRs, which lead to bills, and we conquered right now, this week, that allow 2 ADUs per lot. And we're going to try to pass that. The legislation is also going to try to pass restricting zoning, so that zoning doesn't become restricted. They want to have the ability for people to do whatever they want to do on their land, and they'll build as many houses as they want. That's some of the mentality in contemplating. What detached or attached ADUs allow the homeowner to do is exactly what you just said. If you build a detached ADU homeowner across adjacent from your house, and you and your wife wanted to move into 1,000 square foot ADU, you have all right in the world to rent that house, no question. And that is the risk, because you're retired, your kids are grown, you could rent that out to your daughter, you could rent that out to a stranger, and they could bring 4 kids into the school system and rock and roll. And that is a concern. But one of the ways that we try to mitigate that is by size, on the ADU side. On the other side, reverse, there's no way to.
That's my concern.
And that is a legitimate concern.
Is I see as many town, you get a flood the infrastructure of the town here. Where if it was a subdivision, where I believe the baseline for a building was $50,000-$60,000 tax value plus the home they put on it, you would be generating a greater tax base than you would with the ADU.
The problem with that is that, problem with that is it doesn't solve the issue with our zoning. So if somebody has a 6 acre lot, that's right, they can divide it into 2 acre lots. If someone's sitting on an acre and a half, and their son, their son has an issue, or the dog has an issue that they need a place to stay, and they can build an ADU in the basement, or they can attach an ADU to the house, or they can build a detached ADU, it solves the problem for that.
And I get it, but I think that we're just setting ourselves up for impact.
And this allows for multi-generational family usage as well.
Intended for.
This is what it's actually
Intended for.
intended for. So
Correct, I get
that's-
the intention, but I don't see that as being the result.
I share your concern.
I'm fairly scared about
We
that.
all have the same concern.
Yep.
This is a state push.
Yes, it
Well,
is.
I mean, if the state may pass it, they have,
It has to be attached ADUs.
Oh,
We're already allowed.
yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
then why do we
That's
have
why
such
such
ordinance?
Because we need the ordinance to control the size, control how it goes down. This is all about controlling the state RSA.
Are you basically saying that we have to?
Detached ADUs don't pass such.
You
The
have the
RSA
right
just said it, our
to
city
do,
said it.
you have the right
And
to do
allow
an
it
attached
to
ADU.
the ordinance.
You have the right,
Or have to.
per right, to do that now.
Correct, it's not.
But separate,
That's on the docket now.
and that's what I'm trying to find out. We have to abide by that.
With the
Yes.
state, yes, and the
Yes.
state zone.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe,
Name it.
Name and address of the record.
Rebecca Boyer, I believe in 2017, that ADU law was passed.
Yes.
Hanover tried to get out of it, and they went to court, and they lost. You have to have the whole state of New Hampshire, like an arm. A lot of people don't know about that, but I'm sure they will, eventually.
Well, I mean, unless it's just changed, but the RSA's that I was reading said that they have to allow ADUs that are attached.
Yep.
But the town doesn't have to allow detached ADUs, but they may elect to allow detached ADUs, which is why I consider.
We've also had a bunch of people ask us to this. So I think it's gonna.
There's a bill coming up to allow, to make detached ADUs a right as well.
Which would basically supersede anything we do.
Not if we get this ahead, it might not preempt our own zoning, we don't know that.
Restrictions.
I agree with you, I know what you're saying, but on the other hand, you've got the person that has a 50-acre farm. They're 75, and they really don't wanna sell it, but they can't afford the taxes. But if I can have one of these little units and rent it out, I can stay there and prevent a developer from buying it and putting it in houses. So, you know, it's.
There's no doubt there's pros and cons, and there's risk. Right? There's no doubt.
To me, the advantage is it just allows the property owners to do more with their land than they want to do. The risk, which I share, you brought up, is that every child that comes through the school system brings almost $30,000 onto the tax bill. So a family moves in, it's gonna have 1 or 2 little kids, and now you're blowing out the budget. So I like the idea of that middle ground, trying to allow it, but keep it small enough where it's only really feasible if you want to.
That's a rule that says no kids. 65 or over.
I don't talk about that specifically, but they're used to cannot limit it by the number of bedrooms. The only limitation is the square footage, so you can't say no kids, you can't say it has to be. You can only control the square footage.
The other, just so that everyone, since we're on the topic of state RSAs, or state legislation, there was also a bill up in Concord to allow manufactured housing in any zone, in any area, any town in New Hampshire. Mandatory. So picture 4,000 square foot homes in a neighborhood that's trying to hold its value, and then there's a 2 acre piece, somebody buys it and puts an 800 square foot manufactured home, or 1,000 square foot manufactured home.
Allow it.
We do.
Yes,
The state wants to allow it across the state.
they do.
So I would be I would suggest people who are concerned about land use should really pay attention this cycle, because there's a lot of stuff going by. Hope Payne, who's one of our reps here, is very attuned to that, because she sits on the housing, right? Any other questions concerning detached ADUs? Sir?
Besides the 750 limit, is there a mechanism to override? Could you come to the board?
Yes, so any type of, that would be a waiver,
Yeah.
and it would go to zoning, and then basically write a letter. Do you guys have a waiver form?
Well, that's a state also.
No.
We have variance.
So you need, right? So, because you have variances and waivers. So we go to the zoning board for a waiver, and you ask for that, and you have to say why, right? And maybe in this particular case, I have, 600 square feet available in my basement, that's it. And I don't want to build bigger or smaller, I want to put a bedroom and a kitchenette, right? That would make sense.
Kind of on that, I know there was a mention about, something about, making changes here. What I was thinking was, it's mobile home, but it's a log cabin. You just drive in the car, ready to go, your own form. The reason I was thinking of that is we have that historic home. I don't want to make any changes to it because it's historic. But I still want that family to come and visit, have something to stay. It's not for the
Do the kitchen in?
kitchen, bedroom, bathroom.
Either way,
In the floor.
you end up falling into
So,
It's not, say it again.
oh, yeah, scan,
as
scan, whack.
Wagner, thank you.
Dan, under our ordinance, we don't allow manufactured housing as ADUs, so that would not apply.
All right.
Couldn't do that. We
But
could
if
do
you
though,
stick built one,
we could do, is you could stick build it.
Yep.
Put it down on top of stone or on top of blocks or foundation. You could stick build it.
Yep.
The other thing you could do is you could build a cabin and not have any kitchenette in it.
Yep.
You put a bathroom in it, but you can't put a kitchen.
Yeah, the only reason I'm.
And you could do that outside of all halls.
Yeah, it's built like a house, but it just shows up, right? Looks like a little house.
so is it a manufactured home or is it an actual
It's a Lancaster.
modular home?
Kind of, it's an actual log cabin, but it's built on a trailer base so they can transport it.
And you leave it on trailer
It's
base.
a travel trailer. It's a farm. Yeah, you have to have.
Tiny house,
neighbors to
yeah.
drive it.
No, it's.
It's similar to this. one.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny house.
Yeah.
They don't allow tiny houses.
They don't have any, that's.
We also don't have any.
It's bigger than that.
Okay, any other questions about the land use?
Just one comment, it's just a nuance of this, I want to make sure people understand. I think it states this in the RSA. You can't have two ADUs, you can choose attached or detached. Correct. So it's not like you can have one of each, but yeah, choose which type of one.
Doesn't look like it.
Still on track.
That's okay. That was the question.
Can you move it on the trailer and on the floor?
Possible, but I think they built it in place.
Any other questions related to this? I don't know, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close public hearing on ADUs.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed, post the board's decision. You need to make the amendments.
Make a motion that we amend the ordinance for our discussion and send this along with the cell tower to the town.
We'll let you make the amendments and send it off to Ken, off the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
You're gonna make those, you want that? Larry, you good?
Did I hear it?
Yeah, did you hear everything?
About a third.
We need to talk louder?
You need better microphones.
There is no.
Got
You think we didn't have any?
it. So if, moving forward, if we could speak a little bit louder and maybe come up and that way Larry can participate here. All right, those were the two that were put forth and worked on by planning over the last 2 years, really, because Larry Rawls is the one who started the cell tower and the AE stuff, about a year ago, right, Larry, with Kim?
Yeah, we had it, we were getting it ready for the town meeting of 2024, I believe, and it didn't.
Yeah, it was
And we postponed it, waiting for the state legislature to make up their mind what they wanted to do.
All right, so now we're gonna move forward to the public hearing on the zoning board amendments, the zoning board changes that they would like. The first one here, shall the town adopt an RSA 673:3 as it relates to changing the method in which the zoning board members are seated from appointment by the select board to an elected position with a staggered 3-year term. If approved, the town's initial vote will be in March of 2026 to elect 5 zoning board members, 2 for a 3-year term, 2 for a 2-year term, and 1 for a 1-year term. Would the chairman of the planning board, zoning board, like to talk about that?
Well, we thought that,
Come on, Brandon. You gotta get the hot seat now.
If that's okay.
Absolutely.
yes. Can you hear me, Larry?
Yeah, I can hear you if you talk to the table, yeah.
Okay. Our thought on that was the select board has so much work already to do. And so if we could lighten it a little by not having them make decisions on who's gonna be on the zoning board, it would be beneficial to them. And another thought was if someone on the zoning board didn't approve or elect someone that we wanted on the zoning board, then there'd be contention on whether or not that person would be.
The idea is to make those 5 positions elected. And not be appointed.
Right.
So that there's no conflict between
Anybody.
and you're confident that you could get people to sign up with all 5 zoning board members on
We voted in. We've already got 5 members.
it? Entertain a motion to open public hearing.
I make a motion, we open up the public hearing on electing the members of the zoning board.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Public, would you like to comment? Sue Evans.
What happens if you have it open for 5 members to be elected, and you have people apply for 3 of those positions, but nobody applies for the other 2?
Hopefully we have alternates.
But it's still got to play with the what ifs.
Yeah.
Is then your period to apply to be on the ballot vanishes because it closes, and then you get a write-in for 1 vote, for 1 person, you gotta take it. You don't have an option. Get write-in votes.
We pretty much have solicited everybody we have. Because we weren't getting it. So we used to first, last people. This zoning board years. 1 or 2 years into it. That was leaving it the way it was. So we're trying to implement more of what we can do in the draft. And so far, I'm pretty sure that very short. We, so far, it's worked well.
But that's.
And we also have a alternate right now. We have a primary and one member.
Good.
We've had that for 5 years.
So why accept the apple cart? Now you have to find people plus alternates.
Because we did that. But they were appointed, they were, we went out to then we had to send it back to the planning board. Then from the planning board, they had to go back to that board. It's a crazy service. And it's a good old boy now.
Of course, it's a small town.
It doesn't have to be. Because it should be, elected, just like we were just elected.
Yeah. moderator and do that, do the same way.
Just, you have to take a look at the draw though, if somebody hasn't applied for those positions and the filing period closes, and then you get write-ins, you gotta deal with it, and you get, they get refused though.
Prior to the current board for 10 years, they had 2 people involved. They couldn't get it.
And you guys have done a great job at it.
But the point is, we did it, we circumvented the system.
No, you did, because you could have said, you could have just reached out to the safety and said, it's like what we recommend these people be appointed.
I wouldn't necessarily agree that it's circumvented the system, that is the system.
That
And
is the
every board in the city of New Hampshire goes out and seeks their own board members, because they want continuity and consistency.
I think you'll find that you still have to do all this, or evidence selection.
Currently, it's a very good record for the, like, to see the record.
Kim?
So prior to 2023, the zoning board was appointed by the town moderator. Town moderator brought the appointments to the planning board, who approved them, and took them to the select board, who approved them. And that's how people got on to the zoning board. There wasn't a circumvention, there wasn't a good old boy network, it was somebody brought the appointment to the town moderator. Bruce Jasper changed that, he changed that article in the zoning ordinance, and that went before the townspeople in 2024, so that the zoning board could bring their own choices of appointments to the select board. And all we do is say, that's who you want on the board? Okay, here you go, have them come in and sign up.
That's
That's
so prior. There was the rule. Why there's somebody was in charge of the zoning board, and that zoning board had some years 2, some years 1, never responded. The zoning board was pretty much a non-existent board. This board now is worked very hard to make sure that it stays active. We're in the process now of trying to send the select board people to be alternates, because we only have 1.
Send it to them and we'll appoint them.
We feel like the select board, we would let the town to go who they want on the board, just like the select board. I don't think the select board would like to have to come to the planning board or the zoning board to get approval for who the other guy.
So I believe, and I might be wrong, I believe that the system, to answer your questions, I believe that the system would be, if you had, in March of 26, as an example, you'd have to elect 5 board members. If you only had 3 board members sign up, and you had nobody else sign up and nobody else write it, you could seat the board with 3 members in. The select board wouldn't necessarily have to appoint at that point.
I think,
Or does the select board have to appoint?
no, I think it goes on the warrant. The townspeople would vote on it. If the townspeople vote on it in 2026, if any appointment is up in 2026, then
Becomes elected.
that becomes an elected position. So
Okay.
if a position comes up in 2027, that becomes an elected position.
Right.
He's talking about when.
I'm talking about when you don't get any
Oh,
candidates.
Then yes, then I think that.
Then the select board has to
would
appoint somebody.
It's 4 years.
Which they have not done in the past, which has been an issue.
Without a
From
candidate.
40 years, nobody was appointed, that's not your vote. It's going back up to
So,
the last 3-4 years.
We appointed
Yes,
you,
to answer
but we
your
had to
question.
go through the machinations.
It's crazy, man, it's just trying to be elected.
I have no qualms in whatever you guys want to do.
that's the conundrum. The select board will end up having a,
Yes.
100%.
My concern is not the select board appointing, my concern is the write-in votes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because those people, somebody writes in Susan Edwards. You don't know.
You're gonna be on the building board.
Well, I don't.
Why did you just set yourself up for this?
No.
Yeah, it is. What if I disagree with everything that they're coming up with, and I just fight them tooth and nail? One vote, there's 5 people, one no, and one
with 2 votes, or 3 votes, or there's 3 people that, I mean, you're talking 5 people.
So my feeling on this was, I don't particularly like it, but I also don't like not letting the voters vote.
I agree.
And so the board hasn't opined on this because it's zoning's desire to do this. And my desire isn't to argue with our team, our plans to support our team. So there are problems with doing it the way we do it now with being able to find people. To Dominic's point, it's 100%. Okay. However, I don't feel personally that this is going to help us get people, right? Because there's many people that don't want to run. The biggest problem with this is that once the zoning board member is elected, if he is a cow patty, you are stuck with the cow patty because he's an elected official and you cannot remove an elected official from office without an act of Congress. It's very difficult. Whereas if it's an appointed position, majority vote of the select board will remove that seat. So that's really the only difference in this, is that once you have an elected official, they get a lot more protection under elected officials. And it makes it very difficult to move a singular write-in who becomes very disruptive or other problems. But that's over here. And we're focusing here. So I think that I would like to support this with the zoning board to be able to ask the voters of town meeting what they want to do.
I've been looking over the RSA 673. I've got a list of all the different sections. I didn't print them all. Just looked up section 13, which is removal of members. Removal of members. After a public hearing, appointed members and alternate members of the local land use board may be removed by the appointing authority upon written findings of inefficiency and rectitude or malfeasance of office.
Right.
So there is an opportunity to remove.
Appointed. Not elected.
Not to get clarification from.
Not elected. Example. Son of it, this year, they removed an elected zoning board member. They removed the zoning board member for some reason. No, I think that's appointed too.
Yeah.
But look at it. It's an elected official, so it takes a whole other role.
Well, then again, the other thing was, there's not enough people in town that want to vote, which is over. So,
That's why I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, well, you're coming from the avenue of the people decide, and want to let the vote.
You're gonna get an opinion on this one as well.
Obviously, we have.
Any questions over here, folks? Anybody have any comments? All right. So I'm gonna make a motion to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Public hearing on this issue is closed. I vote for the board to send this off to legal for certification.
I make a motion that we send this warrant article to the town attorney.
For review. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next. The next zoning board request, it concerns temporary camping. Shall the town adopt the following under RSA 675:3 as it relates to temporary camping using travel trailers, recreational vehicles, or any type of mobile living space that is intended to be driven or towed, answers your question, driven or towed within all districts of the town. 1, all units of such kind used for the purpose of overnight sleeping quarters must purchase a temporary camping permit from the town if the length of stay is intended to be for longer than 7 days. The total length of stay shall not exceed 90 days. 2, the unit owner at the time of permitting must provide an adequate sewage treatment and disposal contract from a licensed waste management company for disposal. 3, all units must be in compliance with health and safety measures as required by the manufacturer and having working smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. And 4, units must be stored and or located within all regulated setbacks for property lines and dwellings. And 5, no units may be charged rent or claim residency in the town. residents should be occupants, for instance, and non-resident. Entertain a motion to open public hearing.
Do you have any questions for the board?
Do you have questions?
Um, So I didn't see anywhere in our zoning ordinance where we had a camping permit for residents. We have it for a campground. No, it doesn't allow it to exceed 30 days. I didn't see anywhere in our zoning ordinance where we don't allow people to have.
We didn't have, I think Paul came up with a temporary camping permit.
No, I did the temporary camping permit,
Oh, okay.
but the reason for that was so that if somebody bought a lot of land and they wanted to live on the land while they were building their house, they were able to pull a trailer up and live in the trailer while they were building on their land. In other words, this showed them that they could live in the house, live in their RV, their trailer, or put a manufactured.
I don't think you needed a permit to do that before.
Only reason is,
Now.
only reason was so that we could make sure that they had health and
All they
safety.
had to do was come to the select board, get a building permit. And you keep staying in camper for a year while they build.
It wasn't on the building permit. This was to show,
Didn't
again,
have to be.
that you would be in compliance with the licensed waste management. Nothing on the building permit showed that for the camper. So that's why the temporary camper permit came into play. Because it has a pumping hall permit, or it had that they were tied into a septic system. It wasn't anything to do with the resident having any type of a trailer or RV on his land. So is this is a new,
This is right out of, the state RSA.
What's the other thing? This is in, yeah,
675.
No, that's our-
Article 3.
that's 675:3 is zoning ordinance, historic districts, and ordinance and building code enactment procedures. That's all that is. It doesn't say anything about camping. It says that the zoning board and the planning board can enact ordinances. Doesn't specifically say anything about camping.
Well, this says, shall the town adopt the following?
Correct, so we wrote that because.
As it relates to temporary camping,
Yeah.
using travel trailers, recreation.
But that's not, the state RSA is you can enact the ordinance, it's not the ordinance. So I thought you meant it's the state temporary camping ordinance, there isn't. So this is a rule under 675:3 that says we can do the rule, and that's the rule. Right?
so it's new.
Yeah.
Somebody's a bit for something that just we should build it. Well, you can have to either be able to do it, wherever we think it is, and you can make an extension to build.
Well, I
But right
like
now,
the
this
rule.
is just a shot, transients.
Yeah, I like the rule so that you can't put 5 trailer campers on the land and have 5 people in them.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
I get the intent. I understand the intent.
I couldn't find it, so that's why I was asking what it was. Is it one or was it?
Okay, any other board questions? All right, entertain a motion to open public hearing?
I make a motion, we open the public hearing on the temporary camping permit.
Second, all those in favor? Okay, public hearing's open, comments from the public concerning temporary camping. Russ?
I'm here to clear up that I, sure, I have a friend who comes to visit these days, there are huge these things. I see that we have a requirement to have it where we pump it out or whatever. I don't mind running into my septic system, so I don't have a fee or thing that show that it's been done. I will
take a picture
Yeah.
of the black water hose connected to the septic tank.
One of my.
More than that.
They stay more than 7 days.
I don't know if that's permissible. Because
So they'd have to change it.
Part two, yeah, part two
We'd have to
says you
change
need to show a disposal contract.
Yeah.
From a licensed. waste.
So that would be a change. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Right. So the owner at the time of permitting must provide adequate sewage, let's say, must provide proof of adequate sewage treatment and disposal, either by a contract from a licensed waste management company or a photograph of homeowner septic hookup. That fair?
I think you could also jump into like a thousand somewhere else with this. Like, the waste disposal. No, you can do that. You can transport waste.
And not transport this. Okay, anybody else? Somebody over here, yes.
Yeah, can we check it out now? I am completely. I was in a position a few years ago, as a matter of fact, and came in front of the select board and was told by the RSA and was made to leave the camper on my mother's property where she was going to get fined. At that time, I had no idea, there is no law stating that a camper is a residence on a property. They were going to have another fine because there was 2 residents on the single property. A camper is not a residence, it's on use. However, my son stays in a camper on my property. He has no running water, no sewer, he comes into my house. How is that going to affect anything? There's no law, there's not a law to have a camper on a property that has no running water, no sewer, just. Check.
Well, that's what you have to go to. Zoning board, but there's no rainwater. It's a law.
No variance, okay. So I think Dominic might be correct, so if you could prove no running water. So it's no different than if you built a cabin in the woods, your home, you put that in, right? And you had your son sleeping in there with his, nobody would ever know, but it's also not, there's no zoning for that in this town, there's no requirement that you can't do it. What there is when it's individual living spaces, kitchens, bathrooms, people can live there, people can send residency there. That's the problem.
Like going on camping, there are no residential zoning, there is no law against a camper being on residential property.
That's what this is. This is an ordinance that states that, we're not gonna allow living.
It's more than you guys make.
Correct.
But what about the owners' right? They wanna do, Larry Mann, what they wanna do with their property, if they wanna take that camper, put their son in it. We have no room because we have 2 other children and 2 grandchildren in the main house. You want him to.
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying that this is what the zoning board is presenting. So can you guys give an opinion on what you would do in that situation? Or what you think if this ordinance passed, how they would be able to have their son live?
Why? It's my property.
Well,
It's my property.
okay, I agree with you, and I bought my property back in 1786.
That's how old you are.
I bought it with the intent to make a bunch of 1.5 acre subdivisions. I made one subdivision the following year. Zoning came in and said, you do that in all right, it's going to be 3.5. It is what it is, so that's my property, and I bought it with the intent. Like the law
But
is
here's the
changing.
thing. I am not like you. I'm old just like you, but I'm not like you. When we have a piece of property, I've learned since I was 9 years old, all the way through the military and everything else. own your property, and people don't tell you what to do in your property.
This
whole night
has been
about
telling
We're not subdividing.
We're not subdividing, you're allowing.
This is my let's say.
They're allowing to put up these additions, right? For that, to help the people to live. But we can't afford to put an addition up, but I'll be damned, that camper is staying there for my kid to stay, so we can have his own personal life.
We, as a zoning board, with that ordinance, we wouldn't have a problem with that, we can.
I just did it.
But, if you're already been established and there's no running water, we wouldn't have.
I would give any one of you guys, drive up to the property, Brendan knows where it's sitting. There's no running water, there's power, there's electric, so we can have his lights and stuff,
Yeah.
but that's the only thing.
So, if somebody complained, you just come to the zoning board, say, listen, we're going to do this. We don't have any running water.
Except for the brook.
And they're coming every week, so. Shooting people.
And you weren't really there in 1876.
Well, a year later.
Yes, George Barber, and I did exactly what you talked about. I put a camper next to my house for about 3 months, and the septic was right there. I actually did the septic. So, how would that work? Because it's not camping; it's actually living there. So how does this strike work there?
Well, we have a few families in town where their parents come for the summer with their kids. And stay on the property of a said child or, and they give them a permit.
Well, when I hear her saying I'm building the house, that's what that.
No, because you
that's
already probably have.
Yes, I do, yeah.
So the temporary camping permit is the temporary camping permit that I was speaking about as the board of selectmen is in conjunction with the building permit. You have a lot of land, you want to build a house.
Right.
The temporary camper permit goes with the building permit. There's no additional fee for it. It's simply stating that you're going to be locating your RV on that land for a certain amount of time, and that you have either a pump and haul contract, so you can show us, or you're going to be setting to the septic system, you've already put the septic system in, and that's where you're going to be living while you're constructing your house.
Just follow on that real quick. If I don't have septic here, I have a camper. Would you be able to drive your camper to a KOA?
Is it registered? Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Then you would show us like a receipt, if that's been in there.
Okay, sure. The purpose of this ordinance is we have people that don't own the property, friends of, or cousins of, and they would again, on the property, open up the waste bin, let it run all over the place, and be there for 8 months out of the year. We have nothing that we can stop. This isn't to go after somebody like yourself that has, this is to go after transient abusers. You have to have something in place. You can't wait.
Well, that's
So that's the intent of this is, somebody's staying there for 9 months and then dumping their waste all over the place.
that is not the impression we got.
This wasn't the
I'm
start.
not gonna put my kid. I got another kid.
Any other questions? Yes, sir. So if someone comes in and files for the permit, brings a camper, they stay for 90 days, or whatever it was. Now, they pull up, and somebody else come in, drop it on the camper for, and they get it for 90 days, and then the permit.
On your house?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Now, how many of these campers are allowed?
One. Anything over 2 constitutes a campground.
On the CIS.
Right.
And the one I say for 90 days, knows, the mountain town also listen to the state.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking, like, I didn't know if it was just one permit for 90 days and that's it. Like, no.
Again, this
I mean,
is.
like, I don't like people for 90 days, so I want to go on. Well, I have to go on meeting.
Yes, I have to talk about even, temporary permit when they're building a house. Yeah. What about what happens when they don't build a house and can't get a letter after 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, we have one of those.
That would be a select board action because they are the de facto zoning ordinance.
And that's why the temporary camping permit is being brought into play with building permit. Because it has a statutory deadline date on it. You can have the camper for this date to that date. After that, the camper has to go. Or you have to come in and file an extension and show us that you're actually progressing with your building.
Well, these people, it looks like they put an addition on the camper.
When was it?
Well, that's been that way for about 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No phones or Jones under the bus.
That was,
Let's keep it to
yeah.
subject.
Yeah.
Let's keep it to subject.
Okay, anybody else? Is there a fee, how much you charge?
So the fees to be determined by the select board and the zoning board, once the ordinance is passed. The select board has to probably in that fee. The zoning board can request a fee number, and you guys want to discuss all that.
Yeah.
In the sense, it's like, rather than something they would take up after this.
I'll just say, 'cause that's another thing that people here for 90 days are gonna drive on our road, that they should at least contribute something.
Yeah, right. It'd be a nominal fee unless you don't.
I still live there, need financial assistance.
I think we were talking all about.
You shake your head, I'm serious.
What if,
You're having a big family event in this 4-day weekend with several campers, is that okay?
7 days.
Understood.
what's that, you know, down here? All at once.
They're probably not really like that term.
No, it's involved.
Is the 7-day minimum that I can refer to, it feels a little short to me to Russ's point of just a fresh comes and visits for not to nitpick the 8 days, it's a week, so it's.
Perhaps.
You think it should be 2 weeks, right?
10 days.
You think that would be more reasonable?
10 days?
10 days?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
10 days, I think, would be at least. We've had several reference, also plans for 5 days, because what we do is, in between civil permits, both together, they don't want to drive all the way to their home and come back.
Right.
So it may be just a week, but it could be up to.
Yes, now, with that whole waste thing, you know, have to prove that, whenever we have porta potties out there, that's good. That's approval.
Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is, I think what I'm gonna word this, as any satisfactory proof of legal disposal.
Yeah. It's just a big gray area.
Any satisfactory proof of legal disposal. So in the case of this young, these folks, they wouldn't apply, because you don't worry about it, right?
What I
What about
Right.
compost?
I'm sorry?
Composting toilets.
Ooh, that's my.
That's a gray area, there are composting.
There are.
Situations that are actually worse.
Any legal means of waste disposal. I think that's what we'll change it to say.
So we got some kind of state toilet. Used to be, you just go along. Stay
I'm
right.
gonna edit this one, so I'm gonna edit this and give it to. Any other questions? Motion to close the public hearing?
I make a motion to close the public hearing on temporary camping.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
I'm gonna edit this up, we're gonna amend this, or edit it up to you, Melissa, and I'll send it to you tomorrow. To send off to the town attorney. We get a vote for the board, I make a motion that we approve, to send the attorney for the final language, the camping ordinance as edited tomorrow.
Can I suggest that you send it to the zoning board first?
Yeah, I'll send it right first.
Then I second.
Okay.
Your motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll take care of that one. Okay, now, next one. Last one, junkyards. Shall the town of Croydon, shall the town adopt a junkyard ordinance in accordance with state RSA 236:112 as written? Now, we have a junkyard ordinance, correct?
Yes, we do.
Yes. Okay, hang on. So, you have a junkyard ordinance now. So, this needs to be changed to, shall the town update, rescind the current ordinance and adopt this new junkyard ordinance in accordance with the RSA. So that language has to be met. All right. Any other changes by the board?
Yes, because you need to adopt the entire ordinance. 236, 111. You have to adopt the entire chapter, not just the definition. Yes, because it has all the.
I was honestly confused by this one, and I only got it this afternoon, so I didn't read every word, but I didn't really understand what this was even requiring them to do. I saw a lot of definitions.
It's because Brenda gave me one RSA that we attached to this. And obviously we're missing 111.
Oh, this
The whole thing.
So it's RSA 236:111 through 129.
All right. So it's much more of this.
Much more of this.
Yeah, because the first paragraph here too talks about like used in this subdivision, so.
You gotta go through the scope, all the way, there's the whole chapter of RSA's. The whole chapter. It's that written.
Well, no, all you're gonna do is attach this. We don't even know what we're. Yeah. Guys, I'm gonna pick this one back. You gotta get the whole RSA. You gotta have all of the chapters, all of the, this is just the definitions that you gave me. So. we gotta-
Basically, the junkyard as you see it. Yeah,
I get what the common sense says, you know, why we do this. So we publish this as the ordinance for this public hearing.
we have to see it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to rescind the one chapter that's in the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance as it is right now says that junkyards, well, you know the one chapter. So
What is it?
It says. The town ordinance. No, not in this one case. The state does not. The state will go by whatever our zoning ordinance says. So our zoning ordinance says no person, firm, or corporation shall keep or maintain within the limits of the town any junkyard, dump of any other matter on his or its premises, or permit or allow the same to be so kept, used, or maintained so near to any highway, park, street, or alley, or any other public place, or adjoining or abutting any land owned or occupied by another person, firm, or a corporation so as to be offensive to the use and enjoyment of the public of said highway, park, street, or alley, or any other public place, or a menace to the public health, or so as to be offensive to the use, occupation, and enjoyment of said adjoining or abutting premises by its owners or occupants, or in such a manner that the contents of said junkyard, junk, or other offensively used premises are discharged upon any highway, park, street, or alley, or any other public place, or upon the land of any person, firm, or corporation. A short-term variance of 90 days may be obtained from the Board of Adjustment in order to accommodate needs.
So I guess my question is, why you want to allow? There's changing the ordinance, the state ordinance allows it.
Yes, so many pinholes in ours. And we have a lot of junkyards, and bigger and bigger this time.
Okay, so how's the junkyards doing if the ordinance says?
So right now, this, if you have vehicles, this doesn't cover
There's a whole thing in here.
it. Doesn't cover tires, doesn't cover cars, unregistered cars.
Right on the one, we submitted, has a junkyard, and vehicles. So we'll just copy all of it, we'll be submitted.
I think if you guys do that, get the entire RSA copy, because all you have to do is put this one verbiage above it. And then the whole ordinance goes, the whole RSA goes on the ordinance. I think if you do that, then you can bring it back, you're not changing the intent of the RSA that we publish, which is RSA 46. You okay with that, Russ? Margaret? To qualify the two public hearings? Okay, so we need that ASAP. So we're gonna reopen this. Does anyone else have any commentary on records? I'm gonna open the public hearing.
Make a motion, we open the public hearing for junkyards.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing's open. Anybody want to comment on their opinions on junkyards in town code? That's what, I think what the zoning board's trying to do with RSA 236 is to tighten up the regulations, not loosen them.
There are a number of junkyards in the town. I drive by one, down one road every day. There's a farm, and they just go through and do what? There's pieces of all kinds of stuff. And quickly done.
So would we be better to not change that verbiage and just add to it? Right?
It seems to me there's two issues. One, there's an enforcement problem. We're not enforcing what we have. I think we're talking about addressing that. And the second is there's a couple items missing from that section that maybe we need to have in.
So if you amended it and said that the town code doesn't allow any junkyards and that all of our rules are in accordance with RSA 236, and we'll run through that, we do the same thing that we do. No?
So you want to.
We've had these, it's just, that has been scattered from one town to another town. It's a lot easier to take something from the state and pull it away later or add to it.
I don't disagree with that.
You know, something that's got a nice format that you know, to the legal system.
The junkyard ordinance is gonna be, the town code junkyard ordinance is gonna be all in accordance with 236, 111, and 112.
Question, so, but you said that the state RSA is going to prohibit. So would our ordinance need to say the town code prohibits junkyards as?
I haven't read the 5-page ordinance, so I have no idea. What does it say?
So, here it all is. The town of Croydon can pick and choose what district they want to be in. The town of Croydon can say no district unless they go to the zoning board and ask for a special exception or a variance to have one. Then the town can say, well, you can have it, but it has to be 150 feet off of the street. It has to have a 6-foot high fence, an 8-foot high fence. It has to be contained. It has to be 200 feet away from the water. You can't have any type of leachate go into anybody's well. You know, you can be 200 feet away from the well. There's all kinds of things that you can say. There's all kinds of conditions you can put on it.
How far do you want to take it? You want to just sell it entirely, or-
We want to start this year with the state's ordinance. Like they boilerplate.
The state saying that
Yes.
it's set parameters.
The problem you have right now is that you move in the building, have to do it. Move in the building, 2 houses up, I got a junkie, it wasn't there. You brought the guy over there. So I want to sell my place, they go buy the other one. Junkyard right there, I'm not gonna buy this place. If we go with the state ordinance, you got a good boilerplate to start with, that's all you're gonna do with the legal system, all 9 yards. We can adapt from there. You start right on it in March afterwards. Pick it through, see what people are upset about, see what people are not upset about.
I think what
But
Ken's
you need a
saying,
format.
it doesn't give you the exact description of what, so we're gonna have to still make a decision. Do we want them to do it under what form, like? Still a decision.
It's still a lot of work to do.
Like, what's junk?
Right, so that's what, is this real junkyard, like a selling junkyard, or is this an eyesore, messy, nasty to look at?
It can be either or, so the state RSA, the definition of junkyard means a place used for storing and keeping or storing and selling. So it could be both. Trading.
Or otherwise.
Or otherwise transferring old or scrap copper, brass, rope, woods, batteries, it's everything.
Like hoarder-y is what I'm talking about.
So that one, you don't even have to have this, if it's a health problem, you're not obviously. This is for wrecked motor vehicles or parts, iron, steel, old, scrap, ferrous, or non-ferrous materials. And the term includes but is not limited to automotive recycling yards, motor vehicle junkyards, machinery junkyards, used motor vehicles. So I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And you can have one, but you have to be licensed. And there are licensing requirements and environmental safety. So you can either, again, you can either make sure that it's done properly and safely, or you can just have installed all
One of the biggest problems is somebody needs 10 junk cars here. They're sick, they want them to march or start watering, next thing you know, they're leaching into the ground. It's a water stream that's underground, that's feeding somebody's house 2 miles away. They get cancer, they're dead. Something like that.
No, I totally get that, it's more the eyesore.
I mean, we're not looking at people that have, you know, hobbies, and they got a bunch of stuff sitting in the corner of their yard. We're looking at junk.
So why don't we just add RSA 236 to this? Attach 111 and 112, we'll send it off to you. We can come back next week with the full thing. And we can review it.
Yeah.
So, I'll get it. I'll take that. Because it's not gonna change, this sentence is gonna remain the same, other than we're gonna rescind the current ordinance, and we're gonna insert this one. And it's copy and paste the RSA, so I can do that. I can get that done and get that off on this tomorrow with the other one. Yes, ma'am.
Is there tires on that?
Yes.
Like how many tires are you allowed to have in the yard?
I don't know, they're mostly on 40 turnpike. Did you?
Is it enough though to say that we're just going to adopt it in accordance with this RSA, and not need to say we're gonna ban all junkyards as defined by RSA, or we're gonna limit them to?
Well, one of the issues that we have in this RSA is that you don't have the permitting that they've mentioned here. You don't have a permit form. You don't have a methodology to come in and approve a junkyard. You don't have any of those methodologies.
You don't have a way to do the enforcement, you don't have a procedure.
There's no procedure.
There's no procedure for it, so we can adopt it, but then we're gonna spend the next year going through the procedures.
Well, zoning boards, they're gonna
It's
spend
what
the
I
next.
call a jump, I might call it art.
No, so the problem becomes that, problem becomes, and the only concern that I have, and maybe for us as a moderator, even, my concern is that if we take out, that we don't allow them at all, right? And we put this in, this calls for, specificity, permitting, application to have a junkyard. We don't have any of those forms. We don't have any of that policy. We don't have any of those procedures. So the problem is that if we take out the ordinance that we already have that says we don't allow them, now someone's going to assume that we allow them if we have a permit and we have a methodology, and then come in and say, okay, I want to put a junkyard in. Where's your permit? And if we say, well, we don't have a permit, there's no law that says we're restricted.
That's in the hands of the zoning board.
No. You don't have the policy, no procedure.
You have to go for a permit.
So if we take out that, where are you gonna come up with a permit? Where's the fee?
Right online with the state, I know what they're doing. All through, so you're gonna get a permit, but that will be up for a permit, if you get.
Is your intention to allow?
Within reason, I mean, they're gonna go by the select board and you're not gonna allow an ongoing. You know, yeah.
I'm asking the question, it's totally our intention to not allow them, to do it, to say, that ordinance is we will not.
Okay.
That's fine.
That works then.
But if you're gonna allow some of that, now open up the.
Well, that, I think that's what he's doing by going into that 5 page thing.
Yeah, but I think those 5 pages don't. So easy up to the town to decide.
So it's an RSA 236:117, the licensing requirements. At the time and place set for the hearing, the local governing body shall hear the applicant. And all the persons wishing to be heard in the application for a license to operate, establish, and maintain a junkyard or automotive recycling yard. In passing upon the application, it shall take into account the suitability of the applicant with reference to his or her ability to comply with fencing requirements on the reasonable regulations concerning the proposed junkyard automotive recycling center.
So it's gonna be ZBA approval, site plan approval from the planning board, and have public hearing from the select board. So we're gonna need 3 phases to this whole thing.
With policy,
And a policy, and procedure, and a permit,
and a permit, and a fee.
and a fee. And it's an annual fee renewal.
That way, if you are on the there, you can have inspected one
Yeah.
for example. And with existing junkyards, basically have to re-up, even though they were already grandfathered.
The existing junkyards need to apply for the fee, they have to come in with compliance. They're supposed to. I don't know, according to our zoning ordinance, the select board are the enforcers of such ordinance, so, I guess it would just be more work on the board of selectmen.
Now they're gonna have to go to school to figure out.
What else are that would be?
Okay, what's not?
They've also talked about outsourcing.
Yes. I mean, we start adding a lot of the stuff we're gonna have to make sure that we get somebody to actually have some kind of.
It wouldn't be a full-timer, problem is, if you do allow them, then that does make managing the existing ones easier.
Yes, no, I mean, people are gonna have them, you might as well be able to make sure that, they're safe. Everybody has the right to do what they want to on the property, as long as it doesn't infringe upon the rights.
Because if you introduce an ordinance now that says they're flat out prohibited, then you can't really do anything. It's already there.
We already have an ordinance that says it's flat out.
say if they already snuck through, or, so what I'm saying is it could snuck through. But going the other route where you actually allow a pathway for them to exist, allows you to now manage what's already there.
Right. To make sure that, again, they don't infringe upon the rights of others.
So I think that the correct way to do that is to say, yes, sir.
One thing to consider, if I had a junkyard and all of a sudden, it didn't work out for him, he just bolts off, leaves it. Who leaves it? I know that. Is there a possibility of putting a lien on?
You would do the removal of the junk, you would leave the property for that cost. You would also send safety, yes, and environmental, let's say, that's property, that shows no oil or gas. You can ask all those charges would be, tacked on the car.
Okay.
Many surrounding towns who've enacted this ordinance a while ago have put together policies where they actually tell people that if they need assistance with cleaning up their yard because they're not going to operate a junkyard, or they just have the stuff laying in the yard because they don't know what to do with it, that the town can provide some assistance if there's money in the recycling fund or in the transfer station fund. The cleanup lien can be placed against their property if it's over a certain amount, but that's been one of the ways, one of the vehicles for many small municipalities to clean up some of the junking yards rather than junk yards.
Right. So, zoning board has this, what it's gonna say is, shall the town adopt junkyard ordinance in accordance with RSA 236:111 through 112, and rescind the current ordinance concerning junkyards, right?
Which
Well, we will,
Yeah.
but that's what that's basically what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna attach 236:111 through 236:112. I need that all reprinted.
After you should do all of 129, because 129 is everything.
129 is what?
Also, around John 236.
The whole chapter. 236, 111 through 129.
236:111 through 129 is the entire thing. And then 112 is the definitions for that, which we will try to include, right? So RSA 236:111 through 129, and 236:112 definitions. Any other questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing on junkyards.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's closed. Board, you want to make a motion to send this to the attorney with the changes discussed?
I make a motion that we send the junkyard ordinance to the attorney for review.
Okay, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Larry, you there? Okay, folks, so next Wednesday night, everybody, thank you very much for your participation tonight and commentary. It was outstanding, great. It's allowed us to understand where everybody's coming from, figure out how to do all this. Next Wednesday night is another public hearing, it's a second public hearing. The only purpose of that public hearing is to vote and accept the changes that were made tonight. So there won't be any changes made next Wednesday. It's locked in 7 o'clock. So next Wednesday is an up or down vote on the ordinances that's That's us, correct. And then our ordinances will hopefully be back in the attorney ordinance, so we'll have it formulated and nice and neat. And then they go to the select board for their approval to go on the warrant. They'll go on the warrant anyway, but the select board will say that they approve it or they support it or whatever. So that they give some guidance to that. Okay.
So what time is talk tomorrow?
8:30.
Budget.
Budget. Hang on, guys, our meeting's not over yet. We're still here. Hold on 1 second, Brian, we're still in the meeting. I need a motion to accept the minutes from December 4th.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from December 4th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sign. And any other business? That was only if we had.
What wording?
Now, from the board standpoint, February meeting is going to be Thursday, February 6th. Because, Larry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. The meeting in February is going to be on a Thursday evening, February 6th at 7 p.m. because Vicki from Upper Valley Planning is coming to go over the survey results. And we're going to have the survey results formulated into printout. See? 7 o'clock. Correct. You could send that survey Excel spreadsheet to the board, then we can get it to Larry and get on to that meeting. And then, Vicki will be going over the survey. Vicki will also be talking about the visiting sessions. And the kickoff for the master plan is going to happen that night. So that's going to be the, that on the agenda and probably the final plat from Mr. Goodwin. And I don't have anything else. I didn't check my folder yet, but I don't know if there's anything.
Nothing else.
Nothing else in the planning board folder, so. Yes. Yes, that will be it. So I will let Paul know that if anybody comes in, they're not going to be on the agenda until lunch. We may have a workshop in February, depending upon how the meeting goes with Vicki. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.